For 900 years, one door has humiliated the strongest beings in the galaxy. Kings from London-sized star cities, warlords who conquered 1,000 worlds, champions with armor worth more than Earth itself. 1,000 heroes pressed their hands against the forbidden gate, and 1,000 heroes were thrown back like trash. But the truth behind this gate will shock you. Because last month, something impossible happened. A human, the species the galaxy calls the weakest, touched that gate as a joke. And the ancient eye carved into the stone opened. In the next few minutes, you will discover 3 things nobody saw coming. First, the real reason every hero failed, and it was never about strength. Second, what was actually sleeping behind that gate for 10,000 years. And third, the one human quality that made an ancient machine choose a nobody over 1,000 legends. This story is told in the style of galactic record keepers. Some details are reportedly pieced together from witness accounts. But the heart of it will stay with you. Let me show you exactly how this happened. The gate stood on a dead world called Vera Prime. It rose out of the red desert like a mountain that someone had carved with patient hands. Its surface was dark bronze. Strange lines ran across it in perfect squares, like a circuit board built by gods. And in the center of the gate, taller than a starship, was a closed eye made of stone. Nobody knew who built it. Nobody knew why. The oldest races in the galaxy had legends about it, and all the legends agreed on one thing. Whatever slept behind that gate was the greatest power ever made. The builders, the vanished race who shaped it, had left one rule carved beneath the eye in a language every translator could read. Only the worthy may wake the sentinel. So the heroes came. The first was a Drassic war king named Talvar the Unbroken. He had won 400 battles. He walked to the gate in golden armor while his fleet watched from the sky. He placed his giant clawed hand on the stone. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then a wave of force picked him up and threw him 60 meters across the sand. His armor cracked. His pride cracked worse. He left Vera Prime that night and never spoke of it again. After Talvar came others. A Myceline empress who could read minds. A core champion who once lifted a crashed cruiser off his soldiers. A sword master from the Wren cluster who had never lost a duel in 200 years. One by one, they touched the gate. One by one, the gate refused them. Some were thrown. Some were simply ignored, which reportedly hurt them even more. The stone eye never opened. Not once. Not a flicker. The galaxy kept count. By the 900th year, the number of failed heroes reached 1,000 exactly. The gate became a joke, a shrine, and a warning all at once. People started calling it the Forbidden Gate, because trying it felt forbidden, like asking a question the universe refused to answer. And then there was Sam Carter. Sam was a human. In the galactic ranking of species, humans sat near the bottom. They had weak bodies, short lives, and no psychic gifts. The great races let humans into the star lanes mostly to do the jobs nobody else wanted. Sam did one of those jobs. He hauled cargo crates on a supply ship called the Dusty Penny, and he had done it for 11 years. He was 29 years old. Thin arms, tired eyes. A man whose name nobody important had ever bothered to learn. On his crew of 14, 12 were aliens, and most of them called him the Mop, because that was usually what he was holding. The Dusty Penny landed on Vera Prime to deliver water filters to the research station near the gate. Scientists from 6 species lived there, studying the stone, scanning it, and learning nothing. While the crew unloaded crates, the station workers offered a tour. Everyone wanted a photo with the famous gate. Even failures become famous when they are big enough. Sam stood at the back of the group, sweating in the red heat, listening to a Drassic guard brag about how his grandfather had been hero number 602. The guard looked at Sam and laughed. "Maybe the human should try," he said. "The gate has rejected kings. Let it reject a mop." Everyone laughed. Sam laughed too, because that was easier than arguing. Then, to keep the joke going, he walked up to the gate, shrugged, and slapped his bare palm against the ancient stone. The laughter died in half a second. A sound came out of the gate. It was deep and slow, like a whale singing inside a mountain. The bronze lines across the stone lit up one by one, glowing soft blue, racing away from Sam's hand in every direction. The light climbed the gate. It wrapped around the giant stone eye. And the eye opened. It was blue. Not the blue of paint or sky, but the blue of deep lightning. The pupil, dark and enormous, slid down and fixed itself on the small human standing below. Sam's whole body shook. He wanted to pull his hand away, but his hand did not move. It was not stuck. He simply could not make himself let go. Behind him, the Jurassic guard fell to his knees. The scientists dropped their scanners. One of them, a gentle Myceline named Dr. Eero, whispered the only words anyone could manage. 900 years. 900 years, and it opens for him. Then the voice came. It did not come from the air. It came from inside every skull within a kilometer, calm and ancient and impossibly patient. 1,000 have touched me, the voice said. You are the first to say hello. Sam blinked. His mouth was dry as the desert. I what? Your mind, small one. When your skin met my stone, your thought was not give me power, your thought was hello. You poor old thing. Has anyone ever just said hi to you? I have waited 10,000 years for that thought. The gate trembled. Dust and small stones rained down. The eye's glow spread, and across the desert, shapes began to rise out of the sand, towers, walls, machines the size of cities, all waking up after 100 centuries of sleep. The research station alarms screamed. Ships in orbit reportedly detected an energy reading larger than a star's flare. The voice spoke again. I am the sentinel. I am the key, the lock, and the guard. Behind me sleeps the legacy of the builders, the ones who made me and then vanished. They ordered me to open only for the worthy. Do you know what worthy means? Sam Carter of Earth. Sam shook his head. He noticed, in some distant corner of his mind, that the sentinel knew his name. Neither did the 1,000 heroes, the sentinel said. That is why they failed. Word spread faster than light. Within hours, news of the awakening reached the great empires. The Galactic Concord called an emergency session. The Jurassic War Council met in secret. And on the bridge of a black dreadnought at the edge of the sector, a warlord named High Marshal Vexus Corps, hero number 1,000, the last being the gate had rejected, watched the energy readings and felt something cold settle in his chest. He had spent 40 years preparing for his attempt at the gate. He had given up everything, and the gate had ignored him like he was nothing. Now it had opened for a human janitor. Set course for Vera Prime, Vexus said quietly. If the gate will not give me what is mine, I will take the human who holds the key. Back at the gate, Sam finally pulled his hand free. He turned around and saw 100 faces staring at him, alien scientists, his own crew, the guard who had mocked him. Nobody was laughing now. His captain, a grumpy old Corps named Brell, pushed through the crowd. Carter, Brell said slowly, What did you do? I said hello, Sam answered, and his voice cracked. I just said hello. Above them, the great eye watched, and far away, warships began to move. The next 3 days changed Sam Carter's life forever. The Sentinel would speak only to him. Scientists begged it with questions. Diplomats arrived on fast ships and made grand speeches in front of the stone eye. The eye ignored all of them, the same way it had ignored heroes for 900 years. But when Sam walked near, the blue glow softened, and the ancient voice filled his head like an old friend settling into a chair. So the conquered had no choice. They gave the cargo hauler a tent, a guard detail, and a title nobody had ever held before, Speaker to the Gate. Sam mostly used the tent to hide from cameras. Each night, he sat in the sand and talked with the sentinel. And piece by piece, the truth came out. The builders did not build me to guard a weapon, the sentinel told him on the first night. That is the lie the galaxy told itself. Strong races always believe locked door must hide a sword. Then what's behind you? Sam asked. A gift. The builders knew they were dying. A sickness of the mind took them, not a plague, but a hunger. They had grown so powerful that they stopped caring for anything weaker than themselves. By the time they understood what they had become, it was too late to save their kind. So they built me, and behind me they sealed everything they had learned. Medicine that ends suffering, engines that feed dying stars, knowledge to lift every poor world out of darkness. Sam frowned. Then why lock it? Why not just give it away? Because a gift in the wrong hands becomes a whip, the sentinel said. The builders wrote one final rule. I may open only for a species that touches power without hungering for it. For 10,000 years, I tested every hand that touched my stone. I did not measure muscle. I read the first thought behind the touch. 1,000 heroes touched me. Sam Carter. 1,000 first thoughts. Every single one was a version of the same word. Mind. Sam sat quietly for a long time. The desert wind moved the sand around his boots. I'm nobody special, he finally said. If you'd grabbed any random person off my ship. That is the point, the sentinel interrupted gently. The heroes trained their whole lives to be worthy. Worthiness cannot be trained. It can only be lived. You spent 11 years carrying crates for beings who mocked you, and you never grew cruel. Reportedly, your captain's logs show you gave half your wages to a sick crewmate for 2 years. You thought no one noticed. I notice everything. On the second night, the sentinel showed him visions, the builders' cities, their golden age, their slow fall. On the third night, it taught him how the gate could be opened. One willing touch, one honest heart, and one spoken word of welcome. But on the fourth morning, the sky over Vera Prime turned black with ships. High Marshal Vex's Corps had arrived, and he had not come alone. 40 dreadnoughts hung over the desert like iron clouds. His voice boomed from every speaker on the planet, smooth and cold. People of the conquered, I have come to correct a mistake. The greatest treasure in history cannot rest in the hands of a human laborer. Surrender Sam Carter to my fleet within 1 day, and no one will be harmed. Refuse, and I will burn this station to glass and pull him from the ashes. The conquered ships in orbit were outnumbered 10-1. The diplomats panicked. The scientists started loading escape shuttles. And Sam stood at the foot of the gate, looking up at the giant blue eye, feeling smaller than he had ever felt in his life. They're going to hand me over, he said quietly. And honestly, maybe they should. I'm one person. Those are 40 warships. The sentinel's voice was soft. What does your heart say? Sam laughed a tired, shaky laugh. My heart says I'm scared. But it also says if Vexus gets what's behind you, every weak species in this galaxy will spend the next 1,000 years on its knees. Then, Sam Carter, said the sentinel, perhaps it is time you stopped thinking of yourself as nobody. The deadline arrived at dawn. Vex's Corps did not wait for an answer. His shuttles dropped from the black ships like seeds of iron, and within an hour, 1,000 soldiers in dark red armor surrounded the gate. The conquered guards lowered their weapons. There was no battle. There was no point. Vexus himself landed last. He was a Drassic of enormous size, his scaled face marked with 40 years of battle scars. He walked through the crowd, and beings twice Sam's size stepped out of his way like water splitting around a stone. He stopped 3 meters from Sam. "So," Vexus said. "The mop." "That's me," Sam said. His voice shook, but he did not step back. "I watched the recordings 100 times," Vexus said. "I touched that gate with the strength of a conqueror, and it threw me into the sand. You touched it with the strength of a wet rag, and it opened its eye. Tell me the trick. Human, tell me, and I will let your little station live." "There's no trick," Sam said. "It read my mind. It reads everyone's mind. The first thing you thought when you touched it, that was your answer. What did you think, Marshal?" Something flickered across the warlord's face. For half a second, behind all those scars, Sam saw it. Shame. Vexus remembered his thought. Everyone who failed remembered their thought. "Open the gate," Vexus said quietly. "Open it, and what is behind it belongs to my empire. Refuse, and I will start executing scientists, one every minute, beginning with the Myceline doctor." 2 soldiers dragged Dr. Iro forward and forced her to her knees. The gentle scientist who had been kind to Sam since the first day looked up at him, and even now, she shook her head. "Don't," her eyes said. "Don't give it to him." Sam's hands were sweating. His legs felt like rope. 11 years of carrying crates had not prepared him for this. But maybe, he thought, it had prepared him for exactly this. 11 years of being small had taught him what the powerful never learn, how it feels to be on the floor, looking up. "Okay," Sam said. "I'll open it." Vexus smiled. Sam walked to the gate. He placed his palm on the warm bronze stone. The blue lines lit up, brighter than ever before, and the desert hummed like a struck bell. Behind him, 1,000 soldiers raised their cameras and weapons at the same time. "Sentinel," Sam said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "I welcome you." The eye blazed. The gate split down the middle with a sound like the first thunder of creation, and golden light poured out across the sand. Inside, vast halls stretched into the distance, libraries, engines, gardens of frozen light. The legacy of the builders, untouched for 10,000 years. Vexus pushed past Sam, eyes wide with hunger, and stepped through the gate. He made it 4 steps. The light around him turned red. The sentinel's voice filled the desert, and this time it was not gentle. 1,001 beings have I tested. You, Vexus core, I have tested twice. The answer has not changed. The golden halls faded around the warlord like a closing dream, and Vexus found himself standing in an empty stone room with no doors. A holding cell, built by the builders for exactly this moment. His soldiers watched their leader vanish behind walls that no weapon in the galaxy could scratch. "The gate stands open," the sentinel announced to the stunned crowd, "but it opens only as far as each heart deserves. Take note, Galaxy. The door is not the test. You are." The soldiers did not fight. What were they supposed to shoot? A door? With their marshal sealed in stone, and the sentinel's voice rolling across the desert, the fleet above Vera Prime simply left. Reportedly, half the captains defected within a week, and the Vexus Empire began to crumble from the inside, the way all empires built on fear eventually do. But the real story, the one historians would write about for the next 1,000 years, happened in the months that followed. The gate stayed open. Anyone could approach it. And everyone learned the same strange lesson. The gate gave each visitor exactly what their heart could carry, and not 1 gram more. A greedy trade prince walked in and found empty halls. A poor farmer from a dying colony walked in and came out with seeds that could grow in poisoned soil. A young Drassic medic, the granddaughter of a failed hero, walked in crying for her plague-stricken homeworld and walked out with the cure in her hands. The galaxy slowly understood. The builders had not hidden treasure. They had built a mirror. And Sam Carter, the conquered, offered him palaces. 3 governments offered him citizenship, titles, and statues. A media company reportedly offered him more money than his homeworld's yearly budget just for interviews. He said no to all of it. Instead, Sam asked for one thing: a small house at the edge of the gate station, and a job. Not speaker to the gate, just a job. So they made him the station's caretaker, and every morning, the most important human in galactic history swept the walkways where pilgrims lined up to face the mirror of their own hearts. Some visitors recognized him. Most did not. He liked it that way. Every evening, he sat with the Sentinel and talked. About the builders. About Earth. About nothing at all. You could have taken everything, the Sentinel said one night, as the 2 moons of Vera rose over the open gate. The knowledge behind me would have made you King of Kings. You never even asked. Why? Sam thought about it, watching the pilgrim line in the distance, species from 100 worlds, waiting their turn, nervous and hopeful. When I was a kid back on Earth, he said, my mom cleaned offices at night. Rich people's offices. She used to say the job taught her everything about a person. You can tell who someone really is, she said, by how they treat the one holding the mop. He smiled. I guess I just never wanted to fail that test. The great eye glowed a little warmer. 10,000 years, the Sentinel said softly. 1,000 heroes. Emperors, champions, legends. And in the end, the worthy one was raised by a woman with a mop. Sam Carter, I believe the builders would have liked your mother very much. Years later, when children across the galaxy learned this story in school, their teachers always ended it the same way. The Forbidden Gate was never forbidden. They said, it was never even locked. It was simply waiting, through 10,000 years of conquerors and kings, for one ordinary person to walk up. Expect nothing, and treat an ancient, lonely thing with simple kindness. The strongest hands in the universe could not move that door. A hello opened it. And on quiet nights on Vera Prime, travelers say you can still see them, a small human and a giant blue eye, talking under the stars, 2 nobodies who changed everything. But here is the twist almost everyone misses. Researchers studying the open gate found the Sentinel's old records. The 1,000 rejections were not failures at all. According to the logs, every harsh no was a lesson, broadcast across the galaxy for 900 years, slowly teaching every species one idea. Strength is not worth. The gate was not waiting for Sam. It was preparing the galaxy to deserve him, so that when a nobody finally opened it, everyone would understand why. The 1,000 heroes were not rejected from the story. They were part of it. Their failures wrote the question. Sam's hello was simply the answer. So the next time the universe ignores your strength, remember Vera Prime. Maybe you are not being rejected. Maybe you are being saved for the moment that actually matters. If this story opened your eyes, the next one will break your heart wide open. So what did the Forbidden Gate really teach us? Power reads your first thought, not your resume. 1,000 legends failed because they wanted to own the door, and one tired cargo hauler succeeded because he greeted it. And the greatest treasures in the universe are not guarded by strength, they are guarded by character. If this story hit you somewhere deep, do 3 quick things right now. Smash that like button so more people discover stories where humanity wins with heart. Subscribe and ring the bell, because next week we are releasing Earth was listed as a death world. Then the galaxy found out why, and trust us, you do not want to miss how that one ends. And if you want exclusive extended endings, deleted scenes, and early access to every story, join our free HFY newsletter. The link is in the description. Now here is this week's question for the comments, and we read every single one. If the gate scanned your first thought the moment you touched it, what would it find? Be honest. The best answer gets pinned. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and remember, even a nobody can open the door nobody else could.